Guys, tonight TJ is going to be sharing 7 of his greatest $1 million lessons that helped him make over $120 million in direct response marketing. If you guys are excited to hear these 7 greatest $1 million lessons, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat box. All right, perfect. Hey, TJ, can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you, man. Can you hear me?
Yes. All right. So, guys, we'll get started here. My name is Stephen Bransfield. I work in the Mobe corporate offices with Matt Lloyd. I do most of Mobe's front end marketing. So I'm here on this webinar tonight because Matt asked me to get on it. And guys, you're really in for a treat tonight. The last webinar I did with TJ, people they were very happy, great feedback. TJ really he shares it all. He doesn't hold back. He gives you everything. So TJ tonight, he's going to be sharing the 7 greatest lessons that he learned while making $150 million in direct response marketing. He's also going to touch on how he made $20,000 in his sleep recently, which when you hear that story, it's a great story. So I know we have a packed house tonight. TJ, if you want to take it over, brother, and get started, we're ready to go.
Okay, Steve. Well, thank you. And Steve, just jump in anytime.
Yeah,
And I
one more
want to.
thing, guys. If you want to just turn your audio all the way up, TJ is calling in on a phone, so it may be a little low, but if you turn your volume up, you can hear him fine.
Okay. Well, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you. And already heard some feedback that Steve passed along from some of you. And man, I'm excited. I am so excited. My goal is that something that I will say or Steve will bring out of me or we'll discuss during this next hour or so will make a real difference in your life. Will put a lot of money in your pocket. That is my goal. And so just try to stay open. I've got a list of 7 things. I will warn you, though. I will warn you that a lot of what I say, it just sounds like common sense to people. And so some folks are looking for something really profound. And they're a little disappointed when they hear some of my ideas because I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple person, and a lot of my ideas are pretty simple. But these are 7 of my best ideas that have generated many, many tens of millions of dollars for me and my company. And so don't discount it. Like Mark Twain said, common sense is a very uncommon thing, and no need to complicate things any more than we have to. So with that in mind, you want me just to go ahead and get started, Steve?
Yeah, TJ, take it away, brother.
Okay. Well, my first great $1 million lesson, I call it one idea equals $1 million. One idea equals $1 million. And to help you understand this, I've got to take you back to 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I was very, very frustrated with my life. I was in my early 20s. I was going nowhere. I hated school, and I dropped out of school to work in the oil field. By the time I was in my early 20s, I was working at a factory welding mobile home frames. And if anybody's ever worked in a factory before or worked as a welder, it is the most miserable kind of work. But the reason I was doing it because it was all I could afford to do. I mean, it paid the highest with my lack of education. And but I got to hating my life so bad, and I started to feel like that I didn't want to go on anymore. And I had those moments where I just felt like life was very meaningless. And then somebody invited me to some multi-level marketing pep rally. As crazy as it sounds, just as crazy as that sounds, I went to one of those opportunity pep rallies where they have, the big 50-gallon pots of coffee in the back of the room, and there's all these great maniacs that are excited, these entrepreneurs that want something more out of life, and all of these people chanting and yelling and screaming and hollering. And I found a home. I found a home. My life changed that night. I swear to God. I saw a vision for something else. I saw a lot of people that were excited about the future. And, of course, I never made any money in multi-level marketing. None. I joined a whole bunch of programs in the next few years. I went from network marketing program to program to program. Never made a dime, but I started reading all these success books. And I started setting goals and dreaming big dreams. And I started thinking about what was possible. I stopped thinking about killing myself all the time. I started getting a new vision for my life. And I started also sending away for some money-making programs. My name got on a bunch of mailing lists. And then, of course, everybody that's on this call probably knows what happened then. I mean, once your name gets on a bunch of mailing lists, and then you start buying a bunch of this stuff, your name gets on more mailing lists. So I would come home at night, and I was still working at the factories. Welding, it was miserable work, but man, I was on fire. And I was spending all my money buying these money-making programs. Well, somewhere along the line, I started buying programs about something called mail order marketing. We don't call it mail order marketing anymore. That was 30-some years ago. We call it direct response marketing now. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the idea that I could get cash checks and money orders from people all over the country that I never had ever met before. And that was the essence of mail order. You create offers, whether they run in magazines. We did a bunch of stuff in newspapers in the early 90s, or direct mail. You run these offers, and then people love what you're offering, and they send you their cash checks and money orders. I just fell in love with that idea. So I met my wife, Eileen. She saw all these crazy programs I was buying, and a lot of them were crazy. They really were. They were just get-rich-quick programs, just worthless. But she helped me pick out a few of the best programs. We combined some stuff. We tested some stuff. We came up with something that was all of a sudden making us about $500 a day. So we started our first little direct mail or mail order business it was a mail order business in September of 1988. So, hey, everybody, think about where you guys were in September of 1988. Some of you probably weren't even born yet. That's how old I am. But in September of 1988, we started our little mail order company. And right away, we were making about $500 a day because we had the right idea at the right time. And that was more money than Eileen and I had ever made. And then one day I went to my mailbox, and in with the daily orders, there was a letter from a guy named Russ Von Holscher. He's a marketing consultant. And I sort of knew who he was because he advertised in some of the same magazines, and I had already bought one of his books. By the way, I'm an insatiable reader. I read. I'm hungry for knowledge. I had already bought Russ's book, so I knew who he was. He included a little brochure on his consulting services, and he said, "Hey, I've seen you guys' ads, and I know I can help you make more money. Give me a call." So I called him, and that one phone call, it absolutely changed my life and my wife. From that point forward, Russ started working with us. He started helping us. He had over 20 years of experience. We were just babies in the business, making $500 a day, and we were really happy. But Russ came along, and so the first time we actually met him, we picked him up from the airport, and we lived an hour away. So we're driving to our home, and Russ is in the back seat. And I'm talking to him, and I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and I'm so excited to finally meet this guy because he had already made millions of dollars for himself and his clients, and now he was going to help us. And we got about halfway home, and we're just talking about the business. this amazing business called mail order, which now, of course, it's called something else. And Russ said, all it takes is just one idea in this business to make $1 million. And I about drove the car off the road. I was so excited, I was almost hallucinating. I was just so absolutely excited because $1 million, man, that was just a dream to us at the time. I mean, we were bringing in about $16,000 a month, which was, $500 a day. But $1 million, man, that was just like a fantasy. It was something I dreamt about constantly because I wanted to be a millionaire in the worst kind of way. Well, Russ just said it so matter-of-factly. I mean, he had already done it a bunch of times for himself and his clients, and he knew that all it really took is one idea. And lo and behold, once I accepted that idea, it wasn't but a few months later, I actually had an idea. Came to me in the shower, by the way, but that's enough. Sometimes I get really great ideas in the shower for some weird reason, but I had this idea, and it was a simple idea, too. It was something that I knew our customers would love. So it was focused around the people that we were selling to. And it was the simplest idea. I called Russ. I told him about it. He helped me put it together. It was for an information product that we developed. And then I wrote a sales letter for it. And that sales letter took me 3 months to write. I worked on it a little bit every single day for about 3 months. I still have the letter, by the way. It was all handwritten. I didn't even use computers back then. $1 million came pouring in. Over $1 million came pouring in with that one simple idea. So that is my first really great, my $1 million lesson from my mentor, Russ von Holscher, a man that I still work with on a regular basis. I love the man. We're great friends now. I love him, and I still work with him on a daily basis. So that's it, Steve. Just one idea. As long as it's focused around the people that your market, because that was my idea, but you have to believe it. You have to believe it before you see it. See, I think that's a really important part of my lesson number one. You gotta be open and receptive and get excited about it, because I really believed that Russ was right. When he said that all it took is just one idea to make $1 million, man, I believed it, hook, line, and sinker. And then because I was open and receptive to it, and because I had his help, of course, we did it. So that's my first lesson, Steve. Would love to hear anything you got to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think mentors are a huge part of achieving success in life. And that was one of the main reasons that I took such a big jump. Left school in South Florida to fly out to the other side of the world to come work with Matt one-on-one, because I knew that that mentorship from somebody who was, 10 years ahead of where I want to be right now was really the key to achieving that success and getting to the next level. So, the relationship I have with Matt is probably very similar to the relationship that you had with Russell.
Yeah, well, I hope that you and Matt are still best of friends, brainstorming and masterminding together 25, 27 years from now, because it's such a great thing. And you took a big, bold move, Steve. In fact, one of my lessons, if we have time to get to it, it specifically involves just what it took a lot of guts for you to move to Malaysia. That took a lot of courage, man. And that's one of my deals, too. But I'm watching the clock, man. All of a sudden, it's getting out of control. So let me go to number 2, all right?
Sounds good.
Number 2, and I'll keep this one shorter. Number 2 is the single greatest secret that Russ von Holscher gave us. You see, when we met Russ, we were bringing in about $16,000 a month in total sales. So we weren't getting to keep that money. We were still buying groceries on that money and paying bills and all that. But $16,000 a month to us back then, and we live here in the Midwest, and we were so poverty poor for so long that we knew how to live on a little bit of money. So we were putting all that money back in the business, basically, but that was a lot of money to us. within 9 months, thanks to all of the help, support, and guidance that Russ gave us, we went from $16,000 a month to almost $100,000 a week in overall sales. So think about that. From $16,000 a month to almost $100,000 a week in a very short period of time, and within 5 years, over $10 million in total revenue, not profit. So, and I give credit to Russ. You know, Russ and, of course, my wife, Eileen, because without Eileen, none of this would have happened. And, but so people want to know. They hear that story. They're inspired by that story, as they should be. I hope all of you guys are inspired by that story, because there's nothing special about us at all. Absolutely nothing special. We simply did what Russ told us to do, and all of a sudden millions of dollars came pouring in within a few short years. So everybody says, well, what did Russ do for you? And the truth is, he did a lot of things for us, because he had over 20 years of experience. But the one thing, the single greatest secret that Russ gave us was direct mail marketing. Some people call it junk mail. I hate that term, but then again, some of it really is junk. But you know, he got us started with direct mail, and that was the big thing we talked about last time, Steve. Direct mail is an exciting way to make money. The one big advantage that it has over a lot of other marketing methods is the fact that it's disruptive. A good direct mail letter is hard to ignore, and it does a powerful job of selling if you do it right. So I'm all about direct mail. I'm really excited about this up-and-coming titanium event where we're going to get to share some of our direct mail secrets. And so that's, I say, learn all you can about direct mail marketing, because some people think, oh man, that's old-fashioned direct mail. And they're right. They're right. It's, you know, the first direct mail letter was probably like, what, several hundred years ago or more. So it is an old form, but hey, salesmanship is old too. And all direct mail is just salesmanship in an envelope, so to say. And so that's my lesson number 2. It's or at least it's my most important $1 million lesson, because direct mail has generated over $150 million in total sales for us. And we're just a little tiny company in the middle of the United States. So other people have made our income look pale by comparison. So there are plenty of other people that have made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars with direct mail marketing. So that's story number 2, Steve. I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for anybody who missed our last webinar on the direct response marketing, which, you know, TJ really gave everything that he does, even his sources. I will get that link out to everybody on this call after this. But TJ, with that, let's get on to number 3.
I know, the clock, man, the clock. Okay, all right, number 3. And this is one I'm going to come back to at the very end, because, you know, one of the things that Steve said, and I'm sure that maybe the only reason you guys are even on this call, you want to find out how I went to bed on May the 1st, which was just, what, a couple weeks ago, a week ago, and woke up $20,000 richer. You know, that's what everybody wants to know. How we made $20,000 with Mobe while we slept on May 1st. Well, it all involves my third lesson here, which I call my third lesson, 12.5 million with almost zero work. So how would you guys? I know you guys would. I wish I could be in a room right now where I could say, hey, let's see a show of hands. How many people here want to make millions of dollars and do almost no work? Because I'll bet every hand would go up. Who wouldn't? As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, who would not want to make millions of dollars and let somebody else do all of the hard work? Well, that's exactly what happened to us. And it's one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned. And it involves all of you that are involved in Mobe right now, because I know that some of you haven't even gotten started with Mobe yet. But you should really pay attention to this one, because I'll come back to it before we wrap up. In 1993, because we're always looking for new ways to make money, we heard about a group of people that had found a way to make money with something called a computer bulletin board, or a bulletin board system. They called them BBSs back then. And most of you young guys and gals, you don't even know what a BBS is. You'd have to look it up on Google to find out what a computer bulletin board system is. But this was a precursor to the internet. And it was, well, I don't even want to tell you what a computer bulletin board was. We don't have time for that. But the important thing is, there were people that were advertising on these computer bulletin boards for little or even no money. Just like there's people advertising on the internet now for little or no money. And we got so excited. We knew that this was going to be the future. So all of a sudden, we just started investing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to learn everything we could about computer bulletin boards. We just threw money at anybody who had answers. We threw money at them. And that's how we met a guy named Alan R. Bechtold. Turns out he was just 2.5 hours from here, even though he was known throughout the world as one of the leading computer bulletin board experts, but he just lived down the road from us. And we became good friends with him. We made a lot of money together with computer bulletin boards. And then all of a sudden, that whole industry just crashed overnight. It was just gone. 1 minute, it was a thriving industry. There were 60 or 80,000 of these computer bulletin boards. The next month, it was almost all gone. And the reason that happened was because the internet came along, the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web came along. The internet's been around since the 60s. So it was the World Wide Web that destroyed the computer bulletin board industry. But the point to my story is this. We knew one of the greatest experts in bulletin board marketing. And that was Alan Bechtold, and Alan was on top of everything. So right when the World Wide Web hit, Alan came to us, and he said, TJ and Eileen, I think what we need to be selling is something called a website. I didn't know what the hell a website was. Nobody knew what a website was back then, by the way. I mean, it was brand new. Nobody knew, all right? So because we loved Alan, he's a great guy. He's like a brother to me. We just wanted to keep doing business with him. And so we said, all right, well, I thought maybe we'd sell 50 a month or something like that. I put some sales material together, but that's all I did. I put some sales material together. I wrote some copy and stuff. All of a sudden, within just a few years, $12.5 million came in because of that sales material that I wrote. But more important, because I'm a good copywriter, but I'm not that good, all right? What drove all of these millions and millions of dollars, 12.5 million to be exact, was the fact that everybody wanted a website. And Alan did all the work. So he did all the work. I got half of, I say I, but it was Eileen and I. Half of that money came to us, and we didn't have to do anything for it. So it sounds almost immoral. You know, millions of dollars. You're making millions of dollars, and you're not doing anything for it? Well, we set the deal up to begin with, and we said yes. We said yes to Alan. So that's my lesson number 3, and I'll come back to that because that relates very well to those of you that are involved in Mobe right now, or those of you that are thinking about getting involved in Mobe. So, Steve, anything on that?
Guys, if you're really appreciating the content that TJ is sharing right now, just throw a 1 in the chat box so we know you're listening. And TJ, I think we can move on to step number 4.
All right. And if you're bored to tears, I'm sorry. I'm giving you my best, guys. I'm giving you my best.
Plenty of 1s coming in right now. And we just got about 50.
Well, look, I mean, it's nice. I can see some people going, oh, yeah, right, TJ, that's good. You made millions of dollars. You didn't have to do anything. What about me? Well, we'll come back to this story because if you're involved in Mobe, this is a story that you're going to want to remember out of everything else that we've got to talk about. So my 4th lesson, 4 out of 7, I call it my $1 million education. $1 million is conservatively the amount of money that I have spent, with my wife's blessing, by the way, because she was my business partner as well as my wife. She actually ran the company for the first 12 years. So with her blessing, I spent over $1 million learning everything I could about marketing. And some people think I'm an idiot for doing that. I know, because they told me. They said, TJ, you're crazy. You're crazy, because I hired every consultant that I could find. I hired them. I went to every seminar. I belonged to different mastermind groups and coaching programs, and bought books and tapes, and I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of cassette tapes, because we're talking about the 90s now. Remember cassette tapes? We're talking the 90s now. But I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of recordings I bought everything. If there anything that had to do with marketing, I just bought it. I spent over $1 million, and I don't think I'm crazy at all, because this is the greatest skill. This is the single greatest skill that anyone can learn, is marketing. You know, it became my magnificent obsession. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. You know, I just got hungry for it. And so marketing is the single greatest skill anybody can learn. It is an investment towards future profits, and you've got to see it, though. Again, you've got to have that vision that you're not just spending money on this stuff. You know, these are things that will make you money if you apply them correctly. And all it takes, remember that thing that Russ said to us in the beginning, just a few ideas can really make a big difference and make a lot of money for you. So you might have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's what you make from that money. So that's my lesson number 4. It's Steve, anything on that?
I mean, I think a good takeaway from this is you spent money and you got this information, but the one thing that separates you from most people is you implemented the information, you implemented the knowledge that you learned. A lot of people, they spend money on programs and they listen to the whole thing, and then the next thing they do is they buy another program. But the most important thing is you have to take the knowledge that you learned from that program and you have to implement it into your own business. Because at some point you have to stop being the student, you have to become the teacher. And I think that is one thing that you definitely did. You took the information you learned and you implemented it. You saw the results, and that made you hungry to learn more because you saw what more information could do for you in terms of results.
Well, absolutely, and the key there is you implement as fast as you can. So as soon as you learn something, try to put it into action right away while it's all fresh in your mind. And I've surrounded myself with some really good people that have helped me do the implementation, because that is my weakest area too, implementation. So I've got some good people that have been with me for all that. But you're right, Steve. An idea in and of itself is not going to make you money until it's applied. It does become easier to apply it when you're in the game. You know, when you're off of the sidelines and you're actually doing some of the, you've got some leads and you're turning those leads into sales and you're actively involved in the marketing process. It does get easier. But okay, so number 5, I call it the power of the mastermind. I told you about that $1 million that was invested, and I think of it as an investment. Hey, was it all a good investment? No, because a lot of what I bought was crap. I mean, a lot of what you guys out there have bought is not good either. So I spent money on things that were not that good, but it's still an investment. And as for mastermind groups, I was part of a group that was ran by a guy named Dan Kennedy. Most people know that name. He's pretty famous in the marketing world. If you don't know Dan Kennedy, just look him up on the internet. He started a group that he called his Platinum Mastermind Group. And he invited Eileen and I to come to, it was no cost, absolutely free, 2 days in Phoenix. There were 40 or 50 of us in the room, and Dan spent 2 days telling us about this group he was putting together called the Platinum Mastermind Group. And Eileen and I, right away, I mean, within the first couple hours, we were saying, we're in, Dan, count us in. But only 15 people, or 12 or 15 people out of that group even signed up. to me, I just scratch my head because at that time it was like $8,000 or $9,000 a year. I think now Dan charges $35,000 or $40,000 a year or more, and now there's a lot more members too in the group. But back then it was a small group. It was $8,000 or $9,000 a year, something like that. Eileen and I instantly signed up because we saw that this wasn't something that was going to cost us money. We saw that this was something that could make us money. We signed up. It was such an amazing experience. Being part of that group, it absolutely changed my life. It opened doors for me personally that would have never been opened. And because it was a room full of people that were like-minded in every way, much like what we have with Mobe. People that were like-minded in the same exact kind of business that Eileen and I were in, which was the information marketing business. Although these people were from all different the niches that had nothing to do with the niche that Eileen and I were in. But by getting to know these people, and it was such a great experience because as a member, we were required to share our best secrets with everybody else. It was all confidential, so everybody took an oath, so to say, that they were going to nothing left the room, so to say, that was specific to our projects, but everybody revealed their greatest tips, tricks, and strategies. We got together 4 times a year. The friendships that evolved out of that, it was amazing, and it made us millions and millions and millions of dollars. Just some of the ideas that came out of that association with that mastermind. So one of the greatest lessons I've ever had. In fact, some of the best things that I got by being part of that group were things that weren't even discussed in the meeting room itself. My wife back then was a cigarette smoker, and so every break time, she'd go running outside to smoke her cigarettes, and there'd be another half dozen of them that were also cigarette smokers, and I trailed along, just to be. I wasn't a smoker, but I would hang out with these guys, and some of the friendships that it sounds stupid. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but some of the friendships and some of the ideas that came just outside of that room. And I think about all the people at that the first big meeting that we had, where Dan was inviting us and the people that just saw that as just a cost. And I think, man, those people really lost out. So it's a mindset thing. Some people will only see the cost of something. Other people will see the value of it. And I think if you want to make a lot of money, you've got to get in that latter group rather than the former group. So that's number 4 of 7, Steve.
Definitely. I know myself.
Anything on that?
Yeah. I know myself. I've been pretty obsessed with internet marketing for about 2 years now, and I always felt like I was on the outside looking in. And then I got the chance to come out to Malaysia and go to the Diamond Mastermind in Bali just a few weeks ago. And in those 10 days really brought me into the inside. When you get to see inside one of those masterminds and you get to really talk with people who are earning multiple 6 figures a year, it really opens up your mind to the possibilities. And in just one conversation that you have with someone, can be worth, thousands and thousands of dollars, as you said yourself.
Well, hey, can I give you an example of something that happened recently that are just along those lines, Steve?
Yeah, please.
Okay. When I first found out about Mobe, Matt invited me to come out and speak at the Platinum Group in Costa Rica, and so it was a great experience for me to go out there. And I was at supper that night. One of the nights everybody eats supper, and the different speakers, and Terry Lamb was sitting right next to me. He's a very, very successful affiliate for Mobe, and he said to me, "Hey TJ, do you think that Mobe could be sold through direct mail?" And I wasn't even thinking about it. Talk about being too close to the forest to see the trees. I always thought Mobe of more of an online business opportunity than an offline business opportunity. And I said, you know, Terry, I think maybe it can be sold through direct mail. And I would like to think that if Terry wouldn't have said that to me, I would have eventually figured it out, but maybe I wouldn't have. You know, there is such a thing as being too close to the forest. So lo and behold, we generated over $100,000 in pure profit using direct mail marketing by promoting Mobe. So if it wasn't for Terry Lamb, that may have never happened. It's meeting like-minded people who are all focused on making money, who are in love with the same things that you're in love with, and you put a bunch of smart people that are ambitious, that are excited, and you put them in a room, and all of a sudden amazing things happen. That's the power of a mastermind group. And I feel sorry for people that won't belong to these things or don't join them or don't get involved in it, because they're really missing out. Again, I think some of them just see the cost of it and they just don't realize that the amount of money that can be made. So that's my fifth big lesson. Number 6, sometimes you have to say yes when you really want to say no. And this is something recently, 3 years ago almost, a marketer that some of you know, a man named Dagan Smith out of Baltimore, he invited me to come speak at an internet marketing seminar. And he said, TJ, I'm going to have the top internet marketers from around the world are going to be at this event, him and Russell Brunson. It was their Invisible Funnel event for some of the best, their best clients. And I said, Dagan, I'm not an internet marketer. I don't do online marketing. I'm a direct mail guy. And Dagan said, no, man, I want you there because you can teach us how to create offers. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's on the internet or direct mail. You know everything about creating offers. And he said, come on out and speak. Well, I really didn't want to. In fact, I hated the idea of traveling. My wife has multiple sclerosis, and you know she's homebound, and I just don't like traveling. I don't like being away from her. She depends on me, and I did not want to do it. I really didn't want to do it, but I knew that it might lead to something really, really good. And so, even though I wanted to say no. In fact, I did say no to him the first time, but then he called me up and kept bugging me. But I really didn't want to do it, but I finally said yes. And that's where I met Matt Lloyd. Right after my speech, I gave it on a Sunday morning, and Matt came up and spoke to me, and I was just so impressed with him. I was so absolutely impressed because even though he's a young man, young enough to be my son, you know, he wasn't like, when I was his age, I was really cocky. I was so egotistical when I was that age. And Matt just was so humble and just such an amazing guy. And Dagan, of course, had told me all about Matt, you know. And so I already knew that Matt was super, super successful, and had a great conversation with him, and I think then I sent him a great big box of some of my direct mail pieces and stuff. I sent it to Australia, and then Matt called me up a couple months later, and he said, TJ, I want you to come speak at our event. It was in Mexico at the Baja, Mexico, and I had just gotten back from Baltimore. I said, Matt, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And then he called me up 6 or 8 months later and said, I want you to come speak at Costa Rica. And even though I wanted to say no, again, I just don't want to travel. I've got all kinds of reasons to be right here. At that time, I had 25 full-time employees too. So I was running a business with 25 full-time employees. And but I didn't dare say no to Matt twice. There was absolutely And I was sick when he called me too, so I had some flu thing going on. It felt like crap. And then, man, I did not want to do it. I absolutely, positively did not want to do it. And yet I said yes when I wanted to say no, because I knew that if I said no, he might not ask me a third time, first of all. And I also knew that I might be missing out on something really good. So I went out to Costa Rica just to check it all out. I mean, even though I was there to be a speaker and speak on the opening day, I was really there to kind of do a little bit of espionage, so to say. I mean, I wanted to find out, because I had, between the time I left Baltimore until the time Matt called me up and invited me to Costa Rica, I had already got on the internet and saw a bunch of videos, and I looked up Mobe, and I read everything I could read on the internet, because I really wanted to know, who is this Matt Lloyd guy and what is this Mobe thing all about? But I still had doubts, because I've seen a lot of opportunities, and I don't believe everything I hear anymore. And I'm a very skeptical, cynical person sometimes, and I'm sure all of our listeners here, I'm sure y'all feel the same way. When I went to Costa Rica, though, I was there just a couple hours, and I called my marketing director, Chris Lakeview, who's also my joint venture partner, called him up from my hotel room at break time, and I said, Chris, we've got to get involved in Mobe. I was just on fire, man. Meeting all of the people that I met, I got to see all of the superstars. It was a pre-seminar, so I didn't even realize I came in on the wrong damn day, and Matt had so here were all these superstars of Mobe, and they were sharing their greatest. It was a closed-door session, and I got to meet all of these amazing people, and it really changed my life. And I just think that it's a great lesson, because so many times all of us, we're offered all these different opportunities there all the time, and we only have so much time and so much energy and so much money, and it's so easy to say no, and it's easier to say no than it is to say yes, and we want to say no so bad, but you got to stay open. And Mobe has changed my life, and I know that I sound like kind of maybe like a religious, like it's some kind of religious cult. My life has changed now, but it is. Mobe is an amazing opportunity, and if I would have said no, I would have never discovered that. And so that's number 6, Steve.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything?
No. I think that was meeting Matt, definitely changed my life. Can't even describe it.
Yeah, it sounds almost like a cult, I mean, it's like, but no, it's no. What it is a bunch of like-minded, very eager, very excited, very ambitious people that are doing big things with an opportunity that's already paid out millions and millions and billions of dollars, and it is exciting. It is exciting because most of the stuff on the internet doesn't make any money for anybody, and most of the people on the internet aren't making a dime. And here you've got an organization like Mobe where people are just making massive sums of money, and it is exciting. And okay, so my lesson number 7. And then before I end officially, I want to go back to something I said earlier, but I call it anybody can do this, but few do. So anyone can do it, but few do. It goes back to Costa Rica again. I came in on the wrong, I thought the seminars, anyway, I didn't realize that there was a closed door session, but Matt let me sit in on that event. And I sat right in the front row, and I got to watch all of these superstars of Mobe get up for a half hour and share some of their greatest secrets all day long. And it was amazing. I was taking notes so fast and furious, my hand was hurting. But the thing I kept writing to myself over and over again, because I'm not an online marketer. I'm a direct mail guy. I love offline marketing. And all of these people were up there sharing online marketing techniques, which I kept writing to myself so that I would remember this. I kept writing, anybody can do this, because look, it's not a put down to the people that were up on that stage, the superstars of Mobe. It's not a put down to them at all. But there's nothing that they were doing to make all the money that they were making. None of it was rocket science. None of it was brain surgery. in the end, it's all pretty simple stuff that they were doing. And I kept thinking, man, anybody can do this. Anybody can do it. But then so few people really do it. And that is a big mystery to me. I've seen evidence of it in many other times over the last 30-some years. I just, none of this is rocket science. There's nothing special about me. The people at Mobe that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, or hundreds of thousands a month, or even over $1 million a year, they're very ambitious, very driven people. But the kinds of things that they're doing to generate all that revenue is, in essence, there's not a lot of moving parts here. There's some things you got to do right, but if a guy like me can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. And so I just think anybody can do it. It's just, I hope that all of our listeners, because remember what I said to you 45 minutes ago, I'm hoping that just something that was said during this session will really make a difference in your life. And, don't think that these people that are out there making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or a month or billions of dollars are any different than you, because they're not. I've had the privilege of meeting some people that are worth many, many, many millions of dollars. And yes, they're very ambitious. They're very driven. They're willing to do whatever it takes. They work a lot of hours, but it's not work to them in a traditional kind of way. It's more of a passion that they have. But so anyway, Steve, what have you got on that?
You're right. I mean, Mobe is a system. If you can plug into the system and you can implement and just follow the steps, you can make money. But if you don't implement, if you don't stick with it, if you don't go out and really try to learn a traffic method, then you won't see results. And too many people they're looking for the lottery ticket. They want to wake up one day and have $1 million in their bank account. But what I've learned is that your income is directly equal to the skill set that you have. And I know you said earlier that marketing was the greatest skill that you've ever learned, and that's the position, and that's exactly how I feel right now. If you can just learn traffic, if you can learn a traffic method, and you can learn marketing, that skill set can create the life that you desire. And I saw that vision, 12 months ago, and that vision is what's carried me to where I am today.
Well, and you've got to realize that anytime you get confused, you just go back to the basics, because marketing is very simple. All of the ideas that were being shared that day in Costa Rica by the superstars of Mobe were very simple ideas, and just keep going back to the basics anytime you get a little confused or overwhelmed. But anybody can do it. Russ von Holscher, my mentor, he bought me a subscription to Forbes magazine over 20 years ago, and I've been subscribing ever since. And they got some great stories in that magazine. A lot of the stories are over my head, but some really good stories about business people that are making things happen. And they have their annual Forbes 400 list every year. Comes out every year. And you got to be worth over $1 billion just to be on that number 400 slot now. So you have to be a billionaire just to get on that list. And every year, I see more and more and more college dropouts, and in some cases even high school dropouts, on that Forbes 400 list. And man, that makes me feel so good, because I hated school with a passion. I hated school. And I dropped out of high school to go to work in the oil field. I refused to go to college. And I see college dropouts on that Forbes 400 list now every year. More and more of them are showing up, and it makes me feel good. Anybody can do it. Anybody can make millions and millions of dollars. There's never been a better time for making money. And that idea that I shared with you in the very beginning, where Russ said just one idea can make you $1 million. Well, there's a lot more ways to make $1 million now than there were 27 years ago when Russ shared that with me. Thanks to the internet and some of the other amazing technological advances. But Hey, as I wrap up here, let's go back to my third lesson here, which was the fact that Eileen and I made 12.5. We got half of that 12.5 million, so that half of that money was ours, but we didn't have to hardly do anything for it. All we had to do was just keep calling up our printer to tell him to keep printing up more direct mail pieces and keep calling our mailing list broker to get more mailing lists. That's all we had to do. And Alan was sending us all of these big fat checks every 2 weeks for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I asked him one time. We both had condos in Kansas City in the plaza, really nice area of Kansas City, and so we'd go down there over the weekends. And so Alan and I are drinking coffee, and I said, Alan, now just tell me the truth, man. Doesn't it just kill you to send me these huge checks? Or I said me, but it was Eileen and me. I said, doesn't it just kill you to send us these great big checks every 2 weeks and without missing a beat? No hesitation. He said, hell no, man. He said, because every time I write you one of those big checks, I'm also writing myself one of those big checks too. And Alan knew that it was a partnership. Initially, I had written all of the sales material that sold these websites that he had developed. And he had, at one time, I think he had like 30 or 40 employees. So he was running a huge, huge crew out of Topeka, Kansas, building all of these websites, but they were doing all of the work. And once my sales material was all developed, all I had to do was call the list broker, get more names, call the printer, tell him to print up another 100,000 of those direct mail pieces, and that's all I had to do. Alan did all of the work. He did all of it, and yet we got half of that money, millions and millions of dollars for virtually doing nothing. And those of you that are involved in Mobe, and I'm assuming that's most of you, but I know there's some of you that aren't involved yet. Here's an opportunity to let Matt and his team carry the ball for you the same way that Alan Bechtold carried the ball for us. I mean, Alan and his crew, they were doing all of the work. They were doing all of the customer service work. They were building those websites. All we were doing is making sure that we were mailing our direct mail pieces to the right lists so that they were generating enough of a profit so that we could get as much of those millions of dollars that came pouring in. And the same thing with Mobe. You do just a little, and Mobe does a whole lot. That's the same exact situation that we had with Alan Bechtold. They do all of the hard work, but you're getting the lion's share of all of the money. They're doing all of the hard work, and so that's where that ties in. I mean, it was one of the greatest lessons here is just, it sounds almost immoral, you know, that you can make millions of dollars and not have to do very much of anything, but that's the kind of thing that you have when your joint venture partner is carrying the ball for you, the way that Alan did for us, the way that Mobe is doing for its affiliates. So that's it, Steve. There's my 7.
TJ, thanks so much. And I know there's a lot of people on this call right now that are interested in how do they take their business to the next level. And I know that you recently added, one of your products to the Mobe marketplace. Do you want to touch on that before we finish up the call?
Sure. We've got something called, I told everybody about my $1 million education. Well, I've written a whole bunch of books on marketing, and they're all up on Amazon right now. But there is an opportunity at mobemarketplace.com. So it's www.mobemarketplace.com. You'll find my Ultimate Business Builder package, and it's got 63 of my books that are sold on Amazon.com right now. Those books sold separately sell for, I think, $800 and some. And then there's 12 audio programs that sell for thousands of dollars independently, have sold for thousands of dollars. So 63 books, 12 audio programs that you can listen to over and over again. Listen while you're driving or while you're working out at the gym or while you're doing your chores or just relaxing, and just absorb all of this great marketing information, and you get it all for $99. So it's at www.mobe marketplace. It's the best buy you're ever going to find of It's the largest collection of marketing materials for such a low price. It's the ultimate business builder package.
Guys, if you're interested in this, you can actually just,
and I'd encourage everybody to buy it.
yeah, definitely. The URL at the bottom of the screen, it's mobe.com/UBB. So if you're interested, take a look, check it out. When TJ just said $99, I actually got really surprised. I thought it was going to be more than that for the amount of value that's in that product. But TJ, let's get to the most important part, of this whole webinar. I think we've been holding out to the end, so for the people who stayed on, you're going to get it right here. How TJ made $20,000 while he slept on March 1st. TJ, do you want to touch on the importance of the Diamond Mastermind? Tell people how they can make more money. Our Mobe partners can make more money with the Diamond Mastermind.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That goes right back to that story I just told about Alan R. Bechtold. Because, again, he was doing all of the work. We got all of the money. When you are a diamond level member yourself, then you are eligible for massive commissions of $10,000 for every sale that is made for you of the diamond. So every time somebody comes in on the Mobe Ascension model with the MTTB and they work all the way up to diamond, as long as you yourself are a diamond, you're getting $10,000. Now what happens, and Steve, you can probably tell it better than I can, but what happens if you're not positioned correctly and if you're not a diamond, then when one of your leads that comes in goes all the way to the top, then somebody else is going to get that $10,000. And that's exactly what happened to myself and my joint venture partner, Chris Lakey. And there's a third joint venture partner that we have, which is my stepson, Chris. So I've got myself and my two Chris's. On May 1st, which I believe was Friday night, last Friday night, went to bed, woke up the next morning, go to my computer, and here's a message from Matt saying, "Congratulations, we just closed 2 affiliates on Diamond, and you got $20,000 that we just made $20,000 for you." Now the funny thing is, those weren't even our leads though. Those were how would I even describe that? Because what's the right terminology? They were somebody that we signed up into Mobe, who then went out and sold an MTTB package to someone else that went up to Diamond. And because nobody was, the person that we brought into the whole thing wasn't qualified, and nor was the MTTB sale that he made, they weren't qualified either. But because we were qualified for Diamond, and there were 2 of them, and we got 20 grand. So we woke up $20,000 richer, and not even from a lead that we had personally generated ourselves. Maybe there's a better way of you saying it, Steve, that will help anybody that doesn't understand the Mobe Ascension model to really get it.
When I gave you the call to tell you that you made the $20,000, you kind of said it yourself. Somebody else, they didn't see the vision down the line. They're a little short-sighted, so they didn't position themselves correctly, and they missed out on 2 people missed out on 10 grand.
Yeah, and somebody's going to get that money, and it might as well be you. But here's the thing. I had the privilege, of course, of being in Cancun, Mexico last August. Chris Lakey and myself, we were there for that Diamond event. It is just amazing what people get for that investment. Something that other people are selling for up to $50,000 to $60,000, I might add. So it's a great value that people are getting for the Diamond package. But then one of the benefits also for being a Diamond level member is, of course, now you're qualified to get those commissions. And it felt good. It making money just feels great, and especially when you don't have to do anything for it. Now I know that that might make me sound lazy. That might make me sound greedy. So please forgive me. I might come off like I'm just a lazy, greedy person, but man, it felt great it felt great to wake up Saturday morning at 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning and turn on my computer and find out that that me and Chris were $20,000 richer because of something that Mobe did. And it all ties back to that story again. I've said it over and over again during this last hour about where my good joint venture partner, Alan Bechtold, made us millions of dollars, and we didn't have to do anything except play a role in the initial sale that was made of the product, which is the same thing with Mobe. You just do a little, and then Mobe, they do a lot. They do everything that they possibly can to move your leads up in through the ascension model that they have, through all of the different tiers of that they have, and as long as you're qualified, you're getting paid thousands and thousands of dollars for all of the sales that are made by other people. So to me, it's just the most amazing thing. It's when I tell people that Mobe is the greatest business opportunity I've ever seen, I know that it sounds like hype, and I know that I'm biased because I love Mobe. So of course I'm biased, but I've seen a lot of different business opportunities out there, and nothing compares with this. The chance to just get paid thousands and thousands of dollars on sales that are made to leads that you initially generated is an incredible opportunity, and there's nobody that does it like Mobe. So that's the icing on the cake here. For those of you that are not involved, you should look into it very seriously. Just consider it very seriously to get involved here, because it is an investment towards future profits.
Yeah, definitely, and I think far more important, the commissions. That's a great aspect of being Diamond. But even more importantly than commission, what separates Diamond from the Titanium and Platinum masterminds is that it's a workshop instead of a mastermind. It's a 10-day workshop, at one of the most luxurious resorts that you've probably ever been to. The last one was in Bali. I know there's a few people on this call right now who are actually there with me. And Mobe, they really help you take your business to the next level. Mobe brings in film crews. They bring in design experts. They bring in people who are going to work one-on-one with you to build you a custom funnel that is really custom branded around you. You actually become the guru. You become the face of your brand while leveraging Mobe's brand. I mean, if you look at all the top earners in Mobe, I mean, do you see John Chow promoting Mobe, or is he promoting John Chow? Does TJ promote Mobe, or does he promote TJ? The thing with the top earners and the people making 6 and 7 figures in this company is it's about promoting yourself. It's about building the relationship with your leads, and then once you have the positioning, you can back end them into Mobe, and that all comes from having your own custom branded sales funnel. And we don't teach this from the start because it's pretty advanced. Diamond isn't for everyone. There's 2 ways to make money in Mobe. There's the hands-off way and there's the hands-on way. You can place some ads, you can send them to your affiliate link, and you can make money with that. You can make pretty decent money with that. But if you want to make 6 and 7 figures with Mobe, and you really want to take your business to the next level, then you're going to have to start branding yourself at some point. You're going to have your own custom branded sales funnel. And like TJ said, to get your own custom branded sales funnel, it could cost, $50,000 to have some, experts do it for you. I mean, it's tough to do on your own when you don't know what you're doing. When you have your own sales funnel built by Mobe, you're leveraging the experience. You're tapping into the experience of people who have made millions of dollars, online. I mean, Matt Lloyd, he's an 8-figure earner, and he's actually custom built the sales funnel for you. And real quick here, let me switch over to my other computer. I just want to show you guys, what you even get out of it. You get a custom branded video here. Let me turn up my volume. You guys can still hear me right now, but I'll just play the first 15 seconds of this just to show you, what you actually get at the Diamond Mastermind.
Money hasn't really changed me. If anything, it inspires me to help more people to make a positive change in their lives. Hi, my name is Adeline Sugianto. I'm a speaker, author, and entrepreneur. In the past 10 months, I've been able to generate $130,826 in commissions from my online business. And I'm really excited today because I'm going to show you with my video how it can inspire you and how I can help you get started in your online business that you can do from home or even wherever you like, really. When I was a kid, I was conditioned to get good grades, get a good job, and that's how you're going to have a good life. Probably.
So guys, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you get when you come to the Diamond Mastermind. Imagine what this would do for you, getting your own blog, your own custom sales funnel, your own ads. You get products that you get to say that you co-wrote and you did with Mobe. Imagine what this would do for your business if you could leverage Matt's brand and everything that he's done. But, like I said, Diamond isn't for everyone. But for those of you who know the basics and you want to take it to the next level and you want to do the numbers that TJ is doing, and if you want to talk about it, over the next few days, what Matt has decided is that we're going to do a couple of strategy sessions. And Diamond's a lot. What I just said just now, that's just the very surface of Diamond. There's a lot that goes into Diamond. And that was just a glimpse. But, on the strategy session, more than likely you'll talk with me first. And what I can do is I can definitely give you some tips and strategies to promoting your Mobe business. I've gotten to work with Matt for the past 3 months, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I've really got to tap into the insight on what it takes to run $1 million business. I've been in a direct line of communication with all the top earners in Mobe. So I get to see exactly what they're doing, the strategies that they're implementing right now to build their businesses. So if you want to get on a strategy session with me, and Matt's actually going to do a few of these strategy sessions, you can do that. All you have to do is what I want you guys to do is I want you to email the email at the bottom of the screen, workwithmattlloyd@gmail.com. Notice the 2 T's and notice the 2 L's. I actually want you to open up your browser right now if you're really serious about this, because Matt will be doing some of these strategy sessions himself, and we're going to start tomorrow, so it's going to be first come, first serve. So, if you're going to send us an email, what I want you to do is I want you to write Diamond in the subject line. And in the email, I want you to tell me where your business is at right now. I want to know. I'm interested. How is Mobe going for you right now? And where would you like it to go? What is your 6, 12, 18th month goals with Mobe? And what are you doing right now to drive traffic? Tell me the methods that you've been using. And what we're going to do on the call is we'll go over your business. We'll talk numbers, your marketing budget. We'll talk where you want to go in 6, 12, 18 months and how we can get you there. And so if you guys are very serious about, taking your business to the next level, I want you to send us that email, and either Matt or I will get back to you soon, and we'll get that set up. And, yeah, guys, I mean, I'm a younger guy here, but, I've been obsessed with internet marketing for some time now, and I'm in a very unique vantage point. I flew to the other side of the world from Tampa, Florida to come out to Malaysia. I left everything behind, and that was to come work with Matt one-on-one because I saw that the mentorship that I could get from Matt would really take me to the next level. And just in the past few months, I mean, my life has completely changed. As TJ said with Russ, mentors are so important. So on this strategy call, we'll definitely go over what Matt has helped, my business and many other people's businesses do to take it to the next level. And I'll show you guys, really what it takes to build a real serious business with Mobe. So if you're interested in doing a strategy session and talking about Diamond, then I would advise you to send an email to workwithmattlloyd with 2 T's, 2 L's @gmail.com. And like I said, guys, it's going to be a first come, first serve basis. Matt's going to do the first few. I'll reach out to you first, and we'll go from there. So TJ, thank you so much once again for getting on this webinar. We've done 2 webinars together now, and every single time, I get so much value out of it myself. I've learned a lot from you just in the few weeks that I've known you. For everyone going to the Titanium Mastermind at the end of the month, TJ will be there. I'll also be there, so I'm looking forward to that, meeting everyone who's coming out to the Dominican Republic. TJ, do you have anything that you want to end on here, brother?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for giving up an hour of your time, and I can't wait to meet you, those of you that are going to be out there at the Titanium event. come up to me. I'm the most approachable person that you'll ever meet. So please come up to me and tell me that you listened to this teleseminar or the last webinar that we did, and let's get to know each other. Mobe is a tremendous opportunity. Becoming a diamond level member was one of the smartest things that myself and my two joint venture business partners ever did. Again, it was just a few days ago that we woke up $20,000 richer for sales that were made while we slept, because those leads were they were generated at a home business summit that was being held on the other side of the world, and it's exciting. There's no better time to be alive